this information.
So the public hearing is for public comment on vacating of an alley between lots 13 and 16 and the east half of lot 12 and lots 14 and 15, the east half of lot 11 and block 9 within the city of Fulton.
Did anyone review the packet or have any comments or questions?
I think we covered it all when he was here.
And nobody from the public has any comments, so
No public is
Nobody here
here.
from the public.
public comment is over.
All right, well, we'll close the public hearing. I just need a motion to go to the regular council meeting.
So move.
Second.
All right, call to order the regular council meeting for the city of Fulton. Tori, can you take roll call, please?
Yeah. So Mayor Malone,
Here.
Alderperson Berggraf,
Here.
Boonstra,
Here.
King,
Here.
Mask, here, Sewell,
Here.
McCampin, Wilkin. Here.
Is that okay? Pledge allegiance, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is Dan here? Dan Dolan, he's here tonight? I don't see him.
He's not here.
Tori, we have any communication from any visitors?
No.
All right, moving right along to the consent agenda. All items in the consent agenda will be enacted by a single motion and roll call vote. Any item may be removed upon request by the mayor or any alderman and considered individually after all other items of business on the consent agenda. Approve the regular meeting minutes from April 28, 2025 city council meeting and approve the bill list and the bill list addendums. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have one that I'd make a clarification on here about the Nave Livestock Farm. It's on page 11, 11 on the bottom. That's something the city rents as a trolley from that company, the Nave Livestock Farm. And the city rents that 3 times a year. I think it's 3 for Fall Festival, Christmas Walk, and Dutch Days. And that's to provide transportation for anybody who wants to go to the canyon. So it's a city attraction that the trolley is providing, because there really is no parking up there, or not enough for all the people up there on those 3 festivals. So just wanted to make that clear that you'll see that 3 times, at least 3 times.
Okay.
That trolley.
What fund do we pay that out of?
I think that comes out of the tourism fund.
Okay.
Anyone else? Tori, roll call, please.
Alderperson Wilkin,
Yes.
McCampin, Mask,
Yes.
Berggraf,
Yes.
Rodnick, Boonstra, oops, no Rodnick. Boonstra,
Yes.
and who did I forget here? Sewell.
Yes.
And King.
Yes.
Sorry, I've got an old paper here.
Okay, move on to current business. Motion to approve and vote on the 4th Street contract. It's page 17.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
that, Eric? I'm sorry.
So this would be 14th Street from 7th Avenue at the elementary school down to 14th Avenue. It's the road that runs right in front of the bus barn. On the backside of the football field.
Gotcha. Okay. I could not think of where this was at. All right.
Anyone else? Roll call, please, Tori.
Alderperson Mask,
Yes.
Sewell,
Yes.
McCampbell, Wilkin,
Yes.
McGrath,
Yes.
Zenstra,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Okay, next, motion to approve and vote on the downtown contract, page 18 to 22.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Thank you, sorry. Any discussion?
So this is for phase one, correct?
This is for phase one. We only had one bidder for the project, so unfortunately, that was a little disheartening, but that happens sometimes. So they were a little bit higher, but only by 1.4%, which is well within the engineer's range. The city funds would be roughly $947,361.70, which we went over in the finance meeting this morning, and we are in good shape to take that on.
Any start date from the company?
Nope, not yet, so we have to approve it tonight, and then we'll get contracts out to McCarthy Bush, which that would be the contractor, and then we can schedule a pre-construction meeting and go from there.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Just to speak to real quick, I'll
Okay.
update our finance meeting minutes from this morning's meeting, but you can kind of see on the one that was included in the packet from April, that there was kind of a breakdown of how phase one was gonna be paid for. It didn't change very much. That's still the majority of the plan, but I'll break it down a little bit clearer in next month's, or in next meeting's packet, so that you can see that, but that kind of shows the different funds that we're using to accommodate what we need to pay for to get that phase one going and completed.
Anyone else? Tori, roll call, please.
Alderperson Boonstra,
Yes.
Sewell,
Yes.
Mask. Yes. McCampbell, Wilkin,
Yes.
McGrath,
Yes.
Zenstra, King.
Yes.
All right, next I have a motion to approve and vote on an ordinance vacating an alley between lots 13, 16 in the east half of lot 12, and lots 14, 15 in the east half of lot 11 in block 9 of the city of Fulton.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is Ryan, or,
This is for Jeff Rondek.
oh, this is Ryan.
Is everyone familiar where this is at? Okay. I mean, you showed me today, I think, on the map, right? If we, I don't know if we wanted to in the future, like
So-
put a picture of the map in the packet.
He was here last week.
Yeah, so anybody that doesn't know, it's right on the corner of 9th Avenue and 11th Street. That is where he currently lives. He bought the property to the north of him. There's a small alleyway in there that he uses as his driveway, has for years, because part of that alley has already been vacated many years ago. So he is requesting we vacate the other half of that alley so he can, I believe, build a garage on the other side.
I think he just really wants it also to just take care of it.
I think so.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please. Tori?
Alderperson McGrath,
Yes.
Boonstra,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Mask,
Yes.
Sewell,
Yes.
McCampbell, Wilkin.
Yes.
All right, motion to approve and vote on an ordinance to approve the additional addition of a B1 liquor license for the city of Fulton. Motion, please.
I make a motion to table it until Dan gets a chance to do his presentation.
This is the second time he was gonna, second or third that he was gonna be here.
He's supposed to be here last meeting, and he had issues with a flight getting back. I don't think we heard back from him this time, so.
I had emailed him to come to this meeting and present because if anyone had questions for him, I wanted him to be able to. He said he was coming, I emailed this morning and I didn't hear back, so.
I agree with the second case, tabling.
Corey, roll call, please.
Do we do a roll call?
Do we have to roll call for table?
Alderperson Wilkin,
Yes,
Van Campen, Sewell,
Yes.
Mask,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Boonstra,
Yes.
Bergeron.
Yes.
All right, motion to approve and vote on an ordinance amending chapter 110.60 of the city code, captioned business registration.
So moved.
Is that a first motion?
second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I don't know if we wanna continue on, I guess it'd be with this one and the next item of business. There's been another,
I can comment to that. So that is actually under a different ordinance that won't affect either one of these. About the Delta 9 variant? Yeah, that falls under a different ordinance. That one doesn't fall under either one of these. That actually falls under the business district ordinance. So, yeah, but that is,
but I wanna say, I did some research this afternoon that Delta 9 is an industrial hemp product.
it is derived from industrial.
hemp, which
Yes.
would mean that would fall under this ordinance, correct?
Right now, so,
It's selling an industrial hemp product, just like Gold Leaf.
well, so it's a lot more complicated than that. I spent about a half hour on the phone with Department of Agriculture this morning trying to get the information we need about this. So Delta 9 is a workaround of Delta 8 and Delta 10. So they've somehow figured out a way to alter the chemical formula to make it to where nobody is regulating it at this time. It's a lot more potent than what the 8 and the 10 are. And the state has tried to regulate it, but so far they've been blocked at this point. They're still working on it, but Department of Agriculture has been blocked. But, you know, as far as the city of Fulton is concerned, I do feel like we should amend our ordinance or update it to reflect the Delta 9 variant as well. There's a lot of bad things that come with it, and since it is unregulated, essentially you can put whatever you want on that can, and there's nobody that can test it because it's an unregulated drink.
And then to add to that, per our ordinance, the cannabis definition, cannabis does not include industrial hemp as defined, authorized under the Industrial Hemp Act. So it's not even defined, industrial cannabis isn't defined in our ordinance. Or industrial hemp isn't defined as cannabis under our ordinance.
The National Institute of Health also defines Delta 9 as THC.
So essentially
That's what I'm saying, that's why we need to change the ordinance.
That's what Delta 9 is THC. It's just a chemically altered version of the THC.
But it's still THC,
Right.
which I would think are,
It depends on the level of THC as to whether or not it's defined as
Right,
cannabis under
0.3.
the industrial, our ordinance, under the state statute and under the US Farm Act. So industrial hemp is defined as having a THC level that is, it's only a particular type of THC. Delta 9 is not included in that definition. It has to fill a certain threshold.
When we discussed it at
So,
our meeting,
just so you guys, they're selling this drink called Delta at Eagle River. It's a cannabis THC infused
starting to sell.
water. of some sorts. So it's fallen in a gray area that the alcohol commission is not gonna touch it.
So do you have to be 21 to buy that?
Yes.
Okay.
But the alcohol commission is not gonna touch it, and the Department of Agriculture is not gonna touch it.
Well, Department of Agriculture is trying to get their hands on it, but
Right.
they're being blocked on the state level. But there's nothing out there that says local municipalities, local counties, they cannot pass, there's nothing that says we can't pass an ordinance saying we do not want it.
Right.
So, Sterling actually just passed it here within the last month, I believe. I do feel like we should look into that and amend our ordinance as well. Because it is unregulated, they can put anything on that can that they want, but there's nobody there just to check to make sure what they say they're putting in that can is actually what they're putting in that can. Because they have figured out a workaround to get around the state laws for now.
What has exactly been altered in our ordinance? Like what part of this is?
So the part that we are talking about is on a different ordinance that falls under the business district. These are just fees that we are going to charge
So
for.
we shouldn't be talking about this at this point.
So, well, it kind of leads into both, but these are the fees that we are charging, but the Delta 9 is something we do need to look into here.
So the only thing that's being amended in this ordinance that we're voting on is the
Fees.
fees.
Yep.
And that's the flat rate fee to
So the
start and
first-
then annually.
Well, so the first fee that you're seeing will actually be for the sale of industrial hemp products. And that's on page 25, and then the next one is for 27, that is for amending the cannabis fees.
We discussed that last.
We did.
Right, and this is the
I just wanted to make sure that that was the only thing that was changed in the
Yeah,
ordinance.
so what calls out the different variants of THC is actually within our business district ordinance.
And now there can't be another one there though.
Well, if we change the ordinance, they would not be allowed to sell, and nobody within the city of Fulton would be allowed to sell any Delta 9 variant. Cause actually technically right now, local bars could sell it if they so choose. Because there's no rules or laws against
Where
it.
would that fall into this ordinance, or is that's
It
a little
doesn't,
separate?
it's separate.
Separate,
So, yeah, why-
that's where I think we're getting off on something that's confusing.
Yeah.
We need to stick with what we're gonna vote on.
This ordinance was to address the discussion.
If that fits into this ordinance, or we're gonna have to rewrite again, or if it was a
So
separate
that's what they
ordinance.
started out saying is that.
Now they're
to
saying
do
that there
with
is
some
another
other
ordinance, so everything's getting cleared up.
There's a lot of misinformation out there, so it's, the THC part of it is addressed in a different ordinance that we already have. So this
ordinance
is
was to
just,
address the discussion at last week's meeting about
Right.
imposing $1,000 business fee
Right.
on the businesses that were selling hemp products.
correct, which right now is only Goldie.
Cause they don't have anything right now, is that correct?
Correct.
Cause we had talked about possibly doing a percentage, but and
Yeah,
then,
but we didn't, we were just, last week,
right,
we
I
talked.
know, I wasn't here, I apologize, but you guys talked about doing 1,000 for them, 1,250,
Right.
12,500 for.
Cause the sales,
The
the dispensary.
dispensers. Is that different than the growing?
Yes.
Or is-
That's a different, that's
So
an
that's
additional
a-
fee.
That's a
Another fee.
separate fee.
And then there's another.
Alright.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
So you feel it would be suitable to move forward to vote on these, but,
Yes.
okay.
Any other discussion? Tori, roll call please.
Alderperson King,
Yes.
Mask,
Yes.
Sewell,
Yes.
Campin, Wilkin,
Yes.
Bergraf,
Yes.
Boonstra.
Yes.
Okay, now we have motion to approve and vote a resolution authorizing specific, skip one.
Go back one.
12,
What's that?
number 12.
Oh, sorry. Motion to approve and vote on an ordinance amending chapter 119 of the Fulton Code ordinance for the regulation of recreational cannabis and cannabis business establishments. This is the other part.
This is
So moved.
where
That we
the
discussed.
stipulations would lie that we were just talking about.
So this is still, this is a different fee, so this is for the cannabis business fee.
Sorry.
Hold on, hold on.
Need a
We
motion?
need a motion.
Yeah, I
and a
need
second.
one motion.
I made the motion.
Second.
Barb
Seconded.
seconded.
Okay.
Now we can talk.
Discussion?
There we go.
Now go ahead, Jackie.
Sorry, what were you saying?
This is for the fees for the dispensary and the grow facility,
Yes.
12.5
the
each.
12.5 each for each license.
Got it.
So just to explain, before we were charging them a license fee, we're not actually allowed to license them, but we can charge them a business fee. So we changed our licensing statute to a business fee statute.
Okay,
Because we,
Businesses that meet the definition of cannabis under the state statute.
because we cannot charge for a license, only the state can. But we can charge a fee.
has Mr. Dolan been made aware of the other fees?
Not the new fees, but I mean, he's paid this fee before, so.
I'm just
Yep.
curious if we've had any communication or if.
I haven't, yeah, we haven't talked to him, but he's paid the fees in the past with no issues, so.
Anyone else? Tori, roll call, please.
Alderperson King,
Yes.
Mask, Van Campen, Wilkin,
Yes,
Burgraff,
Yes.
Boonstra,
Yes.
Sewell.
Yes.
sorry, I have one more question. So then whose responsibility is it to go collect these fees? Does that fall under our liquor commissioner or is that?
So, Ally sent the bill out, into March, beginning of April, I believe, so.
So it's something that our business manager will do, okay.
Okay, now, motion to approve and vote on a resolution authorizing specific officers of the city of Holden, assigners of city checks, vouchers, notes, and other documents.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Tori.
Alderperson Sewell,
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Mask. Van Campen, Wilkin,
Yes,
Burgraff,
Yes.
Boonstra.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to committee as a whole discussion. Eric's gonna talk about our comprehensive and strategic plan on page 36.
So on page 36, there's kind of a breakdown, some highlights between the presentation we got from Northern Illinois University and also the one we got from MSA Professional Services. As you can see, a lot of what is noted in here, they both address. So really the biggest take you're gonna get from this chart is the price. They both have the same end product, they both have roughly the same timeline. It's just what, what the city would like to pay. So it's really whichever one you guys prefer. In past practice, we've always went with the lowest responsible bidder. And to prove something is not responsible would be, you would have to prove that they did some kind of harm to the city for, us not to award to the lowest possible bidder, which they have not. They've done work here in town before, so they definitely have went out on good terms on that when they finished that project up. So I guess it's really just, your guys' recommendation.
which group was the gals that were here and did the
That was MSA Professional Services. And then NIU was at the last meeting.
Online.
Which one had worked with Morrison?
That was NIU. Well, so NIU worked with the city of Morrison, but MSA worked with the county. So, I mean, it's just, they've all kind of worked together and around each other.
Did you have a preference as far as who you want to work with, cause you're gonna be the
I mean, I could work with either one of these, obviously, you know, I'm looking for it as a, you know, a money standpoint. I think either way, either route you go, we're gonna end up in the same result. So for the money, I mean, it makes the most sense to go with MSA because they're $20,000 under what NIU is.
I just wonder how everybody else feels about just waiting off and not starting this right away. We're just kind of a new council and new mayor, new alderperson coming in, may get another one here. We just wait a few months before we would leap into this. This is really time consuming. Riverbend is just doing an update on theirs now, and even the update takes a tremendous amount of time. So I'm just thinking more like fall, starting something in the fall or in the winter, rather than jumping into it now. It's really a time commitment.
I mean, how involved are we going to be in it? I guess I envisioned Eric kind of being the
So there
one.
will be, there's definitely a lot of meetings involved, but a lot of those meetings are with different community members. They get, you know, core groups together to address a lot of different subjects. They will end up going to multiple events to talk to people in town. They send out flyers. You know, as they gather all these results, they bring them back to us. And I mean, most of the work is going to be done by MSA, but there will be some work that we have to do as well. It's just part of it. So essentially what they're gonna start with is they'll start with the strategic plan right away because that happens, I mean, that's what's in front of us now. And then as soon as that strategic plan is done, that's when they start working on the comprehensive plan because that is the 10, 15, 20-year plan for us moving down the road. Yeah, I mean, it is definitely gonna be some work, no doubt about that, but.
The strategic plan, is that more of them and?
Nope, that has some stakeholders involved in and around town. You know, so that way it's not just, you know, what we're looking at, you know, there may be things in the community that we're not thinking of right now, that's why you have these stakeholder groups that we can get opinions from everybody.
Well, I wonder if we could approve it now and just plan to not start maybe until after summer. Give ourselves a few months, but ultimately then I would like to have it in place, I think, before our fall fest and the winter event, because if they're gonna be surveying at those events and things like that.
Yeah, and I think the initial, I mean, a lot of it is on them to kind of gather the initial information and then, you know, there'll be some meetings in between there and then we can start breaking it off after that.
Totally Tuesday events bring out the people
Oh,
too,
that's
so
true.
that,
That's
you
true.
know, that'll start here in June, so.
Eric, what do you think?
I don't think it matters when we start, if it takes them 12 months.
Yeah, it's gonna take them at least a year to,
For all we know, they'll be here next year at Dutch Days to wrap it up, so,
and there's a good chance they may be.
right. They're gonna take 12 months to gather data. I don't know if it matters when we start.
Started on it now.
I do too, I would hate for it to get lost, I mean, and
We tend
you've
to
already
start
got the
quick.
connection and then if things go stagnant, then to resurface, get refamiliar with it, like, just keep going.
We push it off now, it'd be too easy to come fall and say, oh, let's push it off till winter. I say get it started.
I think like it was, like just Barb mentioned, like with new people, and I don't mind the decision, I don't have the vote, but I would say like, we don't have one now. Have we ever had one?
Not
Not since I've been here.
to my
So
knowledge.
we're all gonna be new at this anyway.
Right.
But I'm saying, if we haven't had one in 100 years, what's 3 months to keep in the back of our mind? I mean,
Just
And
missing the community
and it's-
engagement over the
I
summer
forgot about
months.
totally Tuesday,
Okay.
so it makes sense to me.
Well,
I say let's get it going.
it's a lot of money, so,
it is, well, and the other thing you gotta think of is in 3 months, is everybody gonna remember what all these presentations were? You know, cause that's the other part of it, now you gotta try and remember what, you know, NIU said compared to what MSA said, and, you know, now everybody wanted to come back and talk about it again, and, you know, I don't wanna try and do things twice.
What if
Right.
we kind of meet in the middle and we say, hey, let's start it like in July, so then they can see July and August, totally Tuesdays, but then the year would take us to next June, so then that would encompass our Dutch days and everything in the spring. Like, so they would see a full year of everything. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, it might take them that long to even get down here, you know what I mean, to start it.
Yeah, they're not.
We
gonna
don't know
be
their
here
schedule.
True,
Yeah.
they might
Yeah, I
say
don't-
they
I don't
don't
know
wanna
an
start
exact-
till August, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's already May now, my guess would be by the times everything got going, it's, probably would be June, July before they really got rolling on it, so.
I think it'd be July, August.
Let's get it started.
Do you need a vote on it next time to move forward?
Believe
So,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, if we're spending that money, right?
Just paid all up front.
I'd have to look back, I don't think they're both paid up front. It was as they get completed.
So then you're looking at, starting July, you're on next year's budget too for the final pay.
Alright, next is discussion on the golf cart ordinance. I actually brought this up, so. I don't have a golf cart, just for the record, but we're just thinking about talking with Eric, on different pathways or roadways
That they can be on.
that they can be on, yeah, right now it's kind of limited,
Are you talking about limiting it more or opening
No,
it up more?
opening it up, right? Eric knows the roads better than I do, but
So there's obviously, can't drive on any state road, so like Route 84, Route 30, 14th Avenue, that's a state road. Obviously, none of them you're supposed to be driving on, but 12th Street is not supposed to be drove on from 14th Avenue to 3rd Avenue. Obviously, we've all seen golf carts, UTVs, drive up and down them. There's just some roads out here that I feel like we really, 10th Avenue is another one, you're not supposed to have a UTV or a golf cart on.
They do.
But exactly,
The park
everybody's
was
seen them, never had an issue. I just feel like we could, as long as everybody's abiding by the rules of the road, I don't really see an issue. And I think actually 4th Street, is called out to where you're not supposed to be out on 4th Street anywhere.
Just 13th Avenue.
Oh, so right through the downtown,
Right.
which to me, I don't see an issue with that either, so. As long as, and I know me and Chad have had this discussion as well, that as long as they abide by the laws.
My only thing with 4th Street would be that they're not allowed to park along 4th Street and take up parking for vehicles. I would say park on and off street if you wanna get out.
What's the difference?
Just because you're taking a parking spot from a vehicle.
But they're parking there
in your store.
Well, that's
Shop
true,
at-
that's true. I mean,
Because people
Customer in your store.
Yeah, like-
golf cart in there that beats a big old truck that you can't drive down the street.
Right, but people
but
from out of
this
town
is the
don't,
point, yeah.
drive golf carts, the ones that come in from out of town, you want them to come back and.
It just would look like, I guess, yes, as a guest coming to the downtown, that it's like,
So then you're gonna tell everybody in the city of Fulton that's got a car, they can't park on 4th Street. Same difference.
not a car, but
Same difference. It's the same difference.
I understand
If
what
I
you're
drive my
saying,
car
but
or my cart, either place, I can park right in front of your store with my car, but you're not gonna let me park with my cart?
well, it takes up like
I
half
might
the
be going
space,
in
so
your store.
driving by is just annoying, like, gosh, they took up a whole spot. Like, because we're already limited on parking, so that's why I'm saying that.
I think it's ridiculous.
You can always write it in there if everybody so chooses that, you'd like to keep the downtown open to just, vehicular traffic.
Oh, I don't like the big trucks downtown.
Yeah.
I don't like them pulling up on the sidewalks when
Right.
people are sitting on the bench eating ice cream and.
Yeah.
So I'll just get a big truck and do that instead of my golf cart.
Uh,
I mean, I can't even go to my barber in my golf cart,
right,
cause I can't park on 4th Street.
what would it take to make the old 10th Avenue, 4th Street corner there a golf cart parking lot?
Oh, no.
That open
So then you
lot?
want me to block 2 blocks?
Well, in the time being, Barb, no one's gonna build tomorrow.
Right now, people could park there if we so chose, it's already gravel, there's
Make
Is
a
it flat?
designated golf.
There's a little bit,
It's
there's a
like
little bit of a hill,
I got-
but
If
I mean,
wanna
it's
walk down to
nothing.
Johnny's, I gotta park up there and walk down.
Not necessarily, but
No,
that's
we
where
can
I
park
think
on
it's
the side
ridiculous.
street in
I
Johnny's.
can come down and park anywhere with my car. I live in town.
It'd be for
What's the
anybody that
difference-
wants
What's
to.
the difference if my car's parked there and my golf cart's parked there?
Well, there's times
What's
that I
the
don't mind
difference?
walking, so I would park my golf cart there and then walk down to Main.
Terry, I'm
Street.
handicapped, I can't walk that
Well,
far.
you can park wherever you want, but I don't mind walking, I have the ability to do that, so I would park.
But not
there
all of
and
us do, that's the thing.
I understand that, but.
Hold on, is it current code?
Blame it on him.
We aren't allowed on.
No, it's fine. It's a discussion that needs to be had.
So there is
Between
not
like KT three and two blocks down, the business area,
to
like
Johnny's,
Johnny's.
yeah.
Right now that you're not allowed to be there.
Well, actually, down to Wits End, it's 13th Avenue to 10th Avenue. And that's ridiculous. I mean, it ain't no different than driving a car. I didn't hear one person come in here and complain that I parked in that spot out there instead of a car.
And they
Not
are,
one person.
Well, I'm gonna disagree, it's very different than a car.
But
A
it's
golf
not.
cart is not a car.
but you take
So-
this into account,
What's
we're
the
paying a
difference?
registration fee to drive that here in Fulton.
Yeah, so why can't I park in it?
Going downtown.
I'm just saying, it is different than a car, so it
It's
does have
not.
different rules.
What's the car do? They bring somebody to your shop. What's a golf cart do? It brings somebody to your shop.
I'm just saying,
It-
A golf
There's no
cart
difference.
is not a car though, it doesn't have the same protection, it's not the same size.
Well, then why
it
do I
doesn't-
have to bring it down there and have a safety inspection and register in the city of Fulton? If it's not a
Well,
vehicle.
why can't you drive it on the highway? Why can't you drive it
because
on
it
a
won't
state
go fast
road?
enough to go on the
Because
highway.
it's not a car, they are different things.
It's probably Illinois law.
I mean,
Illinois state law
so-
says I can't drive it because it won't go fast enough. Okay, but I can go the speed limit down 4th Street. I'm
not
just
even-
saying, you can't, you're sitting here telling me that I can drive a car and park anywhere I want.
That's what
And
roads
that
are
brings,
for, yes.
but that brings people to your shops downtown. But the golf cart, I might have people in from out of town with me that pull up in there. And we decided to do that instead of drive the car, cause it's a nice little drive. And I can't park there,
Keith,
so that means I just won't shop downtown.
Keith, I am not saying
You-
I'm against it, okay? All I'm
But
saying
you want
is,
me to park on the side road, so I have to walk farther as a handicapped person.
there's a handicap spot right on the side of the street. If you're going to
But
my
I still
store,
have to walk
you'd be
farther.
closer there
Not
than the
necessarily, what if it's in the
spot to
middle
the
of the
next
block?
side.
My barber shop's in the middle of the block.
You're gonna have that situation if you're in a car and you wanna park in a handicap spot.
If there's a
You have to
parking
park on
spot in
one
front
end
of
or
my
the other.
barber shop, I don't park in
But
a
what if they're all
handicap.
full? Then you have to go to the end of the thing. Whether it's a car or a golf cart and it's full, like,
Right, but
This
if
is a
it's
silly
not, I can
argument.
park right there. This is crazy. If you wanna do it where you can't park downtown, fine, then I'm not gonna pay to license it anymore. I'm not gonna bring it down for inspection. You're telling me there's certain areas I can drive it, now you're gonna tell me there's certain areas I can park it.
well, according to places that you can drive it right now, you can't park there,
Right.
right? And you
Right.
agreed to
But we're
that,
looking to
and you
change
paid
it
the
so you can drive it
registration,
down.
knowing that you have those limitations.
I
and
didn't know
you're
that
okay
until I
with it.
paid the registration.
Well, just,
I'm just saying, like, you've, like, to this point, you knew what the rules were and you agreed to it.
I don't have a cart, but I would like to see
I'll just bring my car down. and
less
park on the curb.
restrictions, and I don't even have a cart.
I don't
But-
either.
You'd like to see what?
Less restrictions, so more places to take it, you know, we can't, I would like to see it on 4th Street, it's not supposed to be, but it's not supposed to be on 12th in front of the school either, but kids drop off their kids and pick them up, and they use the golf cart, and, you know.
Well, and I mean, I'm gonna just throw out, is it a safety hazard? If you have a big truck on 4th Street backing out, you've got a little golf cart coming up, are they gonna see that?
You're gonna.
If the little golf cart's coming
That
up,
can
you
happen
better
anywhere
see
in
that.
town.
I'm just
It's
saying
the
there's
same if
certain,
he's in a little car. You know, my golf
No,
cart's
it's
bigger than
not.
some cars.
no, it's not.
Yeah,
In theory, a golf cart would actually probably be safer because you actually have a better view than the big ass truck.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
And
talking
I
about
also
the
have
truck
better
backing up.
Right.
Would they see the golf cart coming because it's a smaller object than a vehicle coming.
They might not
would
always see
say-
a car.
Unfortunately, here's gonna be the problem. People are already doing it anyways, and there hasn't been a problem.
You're gonna see the front end of something
Yeah.
if you're looking,
I mean,
whether it be a car or.
These things are happening anyways, they already are, I mean, usually it isn't in front of us, that's usually how it works. But when we're not around, people do these things all the time, people have already seen people down by the school, they're dropping kids off, I'm sure they're driving up and down 4th Street when we don't see them. Again, I'm sure you've seen them driving by your shop or whatever,
Yeah.
but these things are already happening,
They were driving through the festival too.
and I said they could,
You said they could?
yes, I did,
Why?
why wouldn't I?
Why would we allow golf carts driving through our festival?
Oh, I thought you meant in the parade.
No, like
Oh,
through the vendors.
oh, that, I have no
That was
idea.
Jackie, that was me. That's-
No.
I thought you meant like in the
no,
parade, I was like, I allow
It
that.
was not you.
Oh, it wasn't
It
me.
was not
There
you.
are certain vendors that have them, they use them to move their product.
I know who it was. It was a citizen.
It shouldn't have been.
Correct, like, and I, you know,
But that ain't gonna stop them, you know?
if they were seen, I'm sure it would have been addressed, but
When did we start dropping laws because? we can't
everyone's
stop?
doing it, so yeah, let's just not enforce like the
That's
rules,
not-
like.
When we
Well, that's not
start-
why I was bringing up the change.
When do we start?
I was the one that actually told them.
Because
Yeah, I mean, like, two people were
It's
parked.
just
It's just that when we put this in place,
Yeah.
it was way too restrictive.
Yeah, I don't think they need to be on 14th Avenue, I think it's.
Well, then
we
we
can't-
we can't even change that.
Yeah.
That's the
And I
same.
agree with parts of it being on 4th Street, like if it's down farther on 4th Street, yeah, where the speed picks up, they don't need to be out there. I mean, they don't need to be on 31st Avenue, they don't need to be,
Yeah.
you know, in certain places like that, I
Oh,
agree
yeah,
that.
at 4th Street, we gotta stop at 24th Avenue.
Right, that's what I'm saying, and I agree with that, because the speed changes, which is a totally different ballgame.
Yeah, and that is, it's a different ballgame at that point, because we can't go that fast.
Do we have any reference to what other towns are doing that have?
I think every town's a little different.
They're a little bit different, just, yeah,
Just you can pretty much drive everywhere.
That's probably Iowa state law though.
Yeah, Iowa law is way different than Illinois law.
right.
Yeah, cause Iowa, you can drive across the bridge. No, you can't.
I know some fees are
Well, mine
much
gets
less
over
than
here,
what we're
I'll
charging.
That's about the biggest difference I've seen, you know, we charge 100, some are 50, some are 25, and I think that was one of the
We charge more.
the main goals that Shane was kind of looking at was, you know, lowering the fees. And then, you know, also with that, I said, well, if we're gonna do that, let's look at the ordinance as a whole.
Yeah.
And that way we're not gonna piece it together.
Have there actually been citizens that own golf carts that have come in and complained and said, hey, I wanna drive this more places, hey, this is too expensive, like, have we had any?
I've heard
complaints?
one person mention the expense.
Yeah, expense is the only thing I've ever.
But there's people out there that don't even register.
That's, yeah, and I have heard.
Well,
I mean, I can see
Register
paying
them.
$100 for the original.
I heard they register them
But
with the state of
$100 every
Minnesota,
year?
cause it's cheaper than paying our annual fee.
What is
It's
our
Montana.
annual fee?
Or Montana, okay, there you go.
100.
100.
It's $100 a year, or every year.
Right.
But once you register it the first time, there's not as much that's gotta be done to it. So I think for renewals, it should only be a $50 a year.
Which we can change it.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Okay,
Well,
are we done talking about the roads? Or-
So change the, well, if we wanna do any changing, are we gonna talk about it again, or we're gonna vote on it next time?
That's up to you guys.
I'd vote on it next time.
So we gotta figure out, so $100 for the original, or
And
initial.
50 to renew.
I mean,
But if you turn around and get a new golf cart, that's original. So you'd have to go back and pay.
But,
I say $50 across the board.
yeah, make it easy.
Alright.
It's not a money-making thing for the city anyway.
Right.
It's just more accountability.
It's more making sure the people that say they have them are doing what they say they're doing and registering, so that way we know
It's
who
like we
has
do with
them.
our business, you just wanna
Yep,
know.
so, I mean, yeah, we don't make that much money off of it.
And then are we going to all roads except state-run?
Yeah.
Or state-run roads?
That's not my
I would like
subject,
Yeah,
guys.
I think we should.
I'm okay with like extending them, I don't know, something about 4th Street and then running it so then they can drive it down 4th Street, but then they can't cross. Like, how do people
No, they
in
can
golf carts?
You can cross it.
There's 3
You can
places you
cross
can
it.
cross.
You
Okay,
can
where?
cross 14th Avenue. You can't drive one.
You can cross a state highway at a 90-degree angle or a very short thereof.
So can you go at the light, or do you have to go on another?
There's nothing saying right now that you can't go at them.
Well, right now, you gotta go 4th Street, 9th Street, and 14th Street.
And in theory,
Which-
you'd want them to cross at the light, at least it's controlled, if they're trying to zip
Right,
across on
right.
a
But I'm trying to figure out the difference between crossing 5th Street and 9th Street.
I don't know that either.
I don't see why we have limitations on what streets we can cross.
They're all 90s.
Yeah, as long as, I mean, the state statute allows it to be crossed at a 90-degree angle, so I mean, that's how that works.
So I mean, that should be lifted too.
That's up
Cross
to
it whatever
you.
street.
Yep.
Right.
And then I say take it off all streets,
Except the state roads.
except state roads, which we can't
And
do.
where the speed limit
We can't
is-
take it off.
And where the speed limit exceeds,
Changes
so
to
like I said,
40
past
or-
24th.
Right.
Shane, we can't take them off that road anyway, so.
Right.
So it's 14th,
Can't be on 14,
Well,
you
yeah,
can't
it's
be on
where you cross.
84.
You can't be on.
And you can't be on-
By 14th Avenue is
and 136, so
136.
it's just the two, it's 84 and.
And then
Right.
south of 24th.
And south of
Avenue.
24th Avenue because
On
of
4th Street.
speed. Makes it hard to
After
get
a
it back to
certain
the
point?
shop.
After 24th Avenue, 4th Street after 20,
Which is
4th Street
what's
after
24th
24th.
Avenue.
Like
For
right
the
above.
last turn.
Transmission, last time's transmission.
Okay.
That's where the speed picks up to 40 miles.
It just makes it hard to get to the shop.
So open to all city-owned roads.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So just if I can clarify, because I'm the one that's gonna be writing this.
Okay. I'll draft it for you.
On the streets, on page 40, we're keeping A, the entire length of 4th Street south of its intersection with 24th Avenue and excising the rest of the sentence.
Right.
We're keeping B, we're keeping F, and we're keeping G, and the others are going away.
I would say H, we would keep, H we would
H
keep
of the bicycle.
as well. That way people aren't driving down the bike path.
Yeah, no bike paths.
Leaving C, D,
there?
and
Yeah,
E
H.
in part of A.
Can I throw an idea there?
I'll share my notes with you.
You're not supposed to have any motorized vehicle on the bike path, so.
Right.
Can't we do it from 24th Avenue out to
No, because
Industrial Park?
I,
Because you got a lot of people that bought golf carts out there and trying to get them back.
I'm aware,
Well,
but
I think
I'm
deliver.
just saying, yeah, they'll deliver it for free. to
Deliver.
the pole.
That's a 55, you can't.
Right.
Well, he's talking about being on the bike
So get
path,
on the bike path for that, you know.
but,
For that section.
but rules with the bike paths clearly state that no motorized vehicles are allowed on the bike path.
They'll deliver for
Were
free.
we keeping 10th
I know they
Avenue?
delivered mine.
Okay.
No, 10th Avenue will be available to drive.
That's only a 30-mile-an-hour zone anyways.
It's not a state highway.
Some of it's 25 by the far.
So,
Yeah, some of it's 25, but
so you can't have 14-year-olds drive.
No,
No.
18 and valid driver's license. That's currently in the ordinance already.
Can we talk about that?
No.
About a 16 and valid driver's license. If they're old enough to drive a car at 16, why couldn't they drive a
that
car?
doesn't necessarily mean they're the
Yeah.
most responsible either.
Maturity level.
I would beg to disagree.
Well, cause here it just says must have current valid driver's license. It doesn't say.
It's in another part. It says 18 on, it has their age here somewhere. 39, number 11.
I would assume that
18 years of age.
my 17-year-old could drive a golf cart responsibly.
Yeah.
Is that normal,
What's
like in
that?
other communities?
I don't know, I just,
I see kids all over driving. In here, in Fulton, in Clinton, all over.
Well, Clinton, you can drive at 14, so.
Right, but you can drive at 16 here and we're saying you can't drive until you're
Yeah,
18.
you're not
on a golf
responsible
cart.
enough to drive a golf cart, but you're responsible enough to drive a car.
Yeah, I don't think that makes
Yeah, I
sense.
don't agree with that.
oh, what, do you wanna change it?
Is there anything in the state ordinance that says we can't? That may be a state ordinance that says they can't drive until they're 18.
This is
Just like on
This
four-wheelers.
doesn't make
So
sense.
if we can do it at 16, do we wanna do it at 16? Valid driver's license?
As long as they get a valid driver's license. I mean, they're driving a car which has got, how how much more weight to it?
We can check the state
And how faster can it go?
Is there curfew?
just from
like,
there.
when they're driving their vehicles? Is there?
As for a driver's license, I mean, if you,
Is there a curfew on the cars?
Yes.
I mean, on
Yeah,
the
We'll
cars.
talk about that too.
Like I
yeah,
said,
so if you have a graduated driver's license, whatever curfew is, say curfew is midnight, your driver's license technically expires at 11 o'clock. So whatever your actual curfew is, your driver's license is not valid 1 hour before or 1 hour after. So if your curfew was midnight, well, if you get stopped at 11:05, technically you no valid driver's license. Or in the morning, you know, curfew's at 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever, your driver's license is no good till 6 o'clock in the morning. So if you were stopped at like 5:05, you would be no valid driver's license.
So that might be why the 18 was in there.
And that could be, but
I don't think the curfew, I think the curfew goes away at 17 though, doesn't it?
yes,
That's interesting.
Okay.
but not for your driver.
Put a
Yeah.
curfew on.
Well, the way I would
16-year-old.
assume would be as if a 16-year-old is out driving and cop pulled them over, the same rules that would apply to them in a car would apply to them in a golf cart.
For sure.
I would
You
think,
know.
100%.
I would think, since they have to have a valid driver's license to drive it.
When you get pulled over in a golf cart, all state laws are required. I mean, you have to go to, you have to stop at stop signs, you have to do your turn signals, you have to wear your seatbelt. I mean,
Right.
in theory, all
They're
state
16.
laws.
11:05, their license no good, so they don't qualify to drive that golf cart.
Right, they should.
So if we follow state law on that,
And they have to carry insurance, so if the parents wanna pay for insurance for their 16-year-old to drive a golf cart,
Yeah, and if they get pulled over,
That's gonna be
right?
expensive.
Yeah,
Up and
that's,
down.
right? So,
might not be as expensive as you think.
The state statute only specifies that they have to have a valid driver's license.
Okay.
I don't know, and I don't know why they called out 18 years old. It could have just been, they didn't feel 16-year-old.
it might have been a copy and paste from somebody else.
And I'm sure it was.
Do we like 16 and valid driver's license?
16 years
I
old.
would just say a valid driver's license and not put an age at all in here. Because if you have a valid driver's license, you're gonna be 16 or older, so.
Or does it have to be an Illinois license? Or can a 14-year-old from Iowa come over and then start driving a golf cart?
But they have to drive, then they have to have a person to drive with them. You have to have a licensed adult with 14-year-old from.
I understand what you're saying,
You know what I mean?
yes.
Yeah.
But there
But
again,
but they're out of state, so
But
they're.
that's a permit.
Yeah, that is.
that's not a license, that's a permit. And you have to have a licensed driver with it.
16.
I'll just make it easy and say 16. Okay. Did we decide on $50? Is that good with everybody?
Yeah.
Was it 100 to start and then 50 after, or
No,
just
just
50?
They wanna go 50 straight across the board.
Do we like July to June? It's like in the middle of riding season, I guess, or?
July to June.
Police department.
That's the current registration, like
Yeah.
July 1st through June.
June 30th.
I would,
So I was thinking like 1 May to 30 April, you know?
either way.
Who's in charge of that?
Police do.
Adam.
Oh, okay, so would that be
What's this, whatever you tell us, yeah.
administratively not an issue for you
Yeah.
to change it?
I just, if you buy one in May, you're gonna pay 50, and then 1 July, you're gonna pay 50 again, cause it's the new, so just make it easier if it was either at the beginning or the end of the season. Preferably the beginning, that way everyone's out, they're paid, they're riding, and you don't have to
I
worry
have
about.
no
The
problem
way
with
it's
1 May to
written
30
now is
April.
the cost of the permit is $100 for each vehicle for a full year, prorated to $50 for half year or less.
So then we'll just have no prorated,
Right. So if they buy it this,
Till April, they
I
just
would
wait
say
to
if
register.
they buy it this July,
Right.
like this year, they're gonna pay 50, and it would expire on 30 April.
Yeah.
And then they'll, you're already getting the discount. And then next year it'll be always May through April.
If you buy it first of April, then don't register until May.
They'll just buy it for the summer. Just do the $50 worth.
The other one was 10 PM, that's when you're not allowed to drive anymore, past 10 PM. So I don't know if we would wanna extend that.
I like that, for opening up all the roads, and I've seen some golf carts, it's twilight out and you can barely see the taillights on the damn thing, just taillights are so small. They have them, yes, or they work, yes, they work, but you can, and we got some roads in town that there's not a whole lot of lighting in them. So if we're gonna open up the whole city to let people drive on, I think keep
Keep the time.
I think so too.
10 o'clock is even still dark. So I
Some of
guess,
them are like that,
what's the difference
especially
between
when you
10
see
o'clock and 11 o'clock, I guess? Probably no
You might be at a
darker-
friend's house and
so
you
no
get like,
darker than a.
oh, it's 10 o'clock, I gotta go home now. I brought my card, so I'm
It's a
leaving.
good, good reason why I gotta leave.
Hey, you could change it, you know?
But you're right, some of them you can't see it all.
But it's still dark at 10 and it's the same
Right, it's
darkness
still
at
dark at
11
midnight.
o'clock.
There's probably less traffic at midnight than,
They're not all like that though, that's the thing.
Now, I maybe try it for a year,
that's a good thing, we can always change ordinance again.
Let's try it for
So-
a year and see how it goes.
see what type of
Year from tonight, we'll
issues,
review it.
Yeah, really good. Can we change it to midnight?
so for.
I'm all right with that.
Chad,
Chief?
Any input?
Can't do it till you, can't do nothing till you pass the official ordinance, so.
any input?
Any-
I don't see any problem with most of your suggestions, so.
Okay. That's what I said.
The 10 o'clock thing, again, that's gonna be your call, I was just looking up a bike, so like a vehicle, taillights, you have to be able to see for at least 500 feet behind the vehicle. I wasn't for sure what a bicycle is, and it's only 100 feet, so I mean, if you're coming up on a bicycle, you only have to be able to see the red reflector, not even a red light from 100 feet, and then headlights on a bicycle is 500 feet, and a vehicle is 1,000, but so I'm 50-50 on as far as the lights at nighttime. I mean, it's gonna be, your golf cart lights are gonna be better than a bicycle. So,
Well, at 10 o'clock, I mean, it's dark, so
Yeah,
you're
what's
not
the
really,
difference?
That's
I
what I'm
guess-
saying, like, it's dark at 10, it's dark at midnight.
you either say
There's
9
probably less
o'clock or you
cars
either go
at-
to midnight,
There's
you
probably
know?
less cars at midnight
Yeah,
than 10 PM.
I think it's a good idea to revisit it in a year because I think with the loosening up the requirements, there might be a lot more people using it.
Right.
So are you suggesting leaving it at 10 or
I'm just
extending it to
suggesting that
midnight?
we review whatever we just review the whole thing next year and see how it went.
I think if I'm getting this right, Barb, what you wanna do is put the new ordinance in and then review it in a year to see how it went.
Evaluate the ordinance that
Yeah,
we're
we can do that.
adopting now.
I just wondered how you felt about the time.
I don't have one, I don't have anybody in my family. I guess I worry a little bit about accidents more because they are not maybe as visible as a car coming and going, but I don't have an opinion one way or the other.
What if we extend it to 11 and then we extend it to midnight a year from now if it's not an issue?
you could always you could always revisit it again
Because
after a
if
year,
we do
change
have
it.
16-year-olds that have curfews at
Depends on
11,
how the
and we're
year goes.
eliminating
Okay.
that hour that they could get in trouble.
Okay. I think we're going with 11.
Yeah, that way then they know they'd have to be home no matter what.
Right, just to eliminate that hour of gray area with kids that might, I don't know.
I want my 16-year-olds home.
By 11 or by 10?
By 11.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's kind of why I said 11 too.
Good?
Sounds good.
Okay. Number 3, just a reminder, next city council meeting scheduled for Monday, May 26th is currently canceled because it falls on Memorial Day. So our next meeting wouldn't be until June when we vote on all these new items unless, did we want to have a meeting on Tuesday? The 27th? No?
I'm gone that week.
Okay.
mean,
I just thought I would bring it up with,
Don't bother me anyway, either way.
I will not be able to, Tuesdays already have fire.
I don't have a preference. Yeah, why not? I'll be here.
well, if we, I mean, it sounds like we're not gonna have a quorum then.
Yeah.
Were we talking about moving the 26th to the 2nd? And then having?
No, the
No.
The
just-
26th is canceled right now.
Oh, okay.
I was
It would
thinking
either
about
be the
having
next
the
night or
meeting on the
we would-
27th, on Tuesday,
Oh,
the very next day.
Normally, we don't reschedule
Right.
after holidays because the dates for all of the council meetings are published at the first of the year. And there would be no notice out there.
Usually that's caught at the beginning of the year when you do it. they right away changed the date. So this was on.
Okay, we don't have to, I just,
So when will our next one be?
June 9.
Always a second and
Second, fourth Mondays of the month.
Alright, Chad, you wanna talk about chief of police report?
Attached is, you're gonna see a copy of, the month of April. Just a few things that's going on. I brought this up at the police committee meeting, or public safety meeting. The state of Illinois has implemented a 100% compliance for all officers by, July 1st. That has put us in a bad spot. So the state of Illinois, in their infinite wisdom to not defund the police, it just makes it impossible to keep your certification. If you are not, have all your great mandated, courses completed that are every year, you will be decertified. And if you're decertified, that means you have to petition the Training and Standards Board to get your certification back. To help alleviate some of that, I have guys going to a ton of trainings this next month to get ahead of the game. So that's obviously under the training portion of it. At the top of the report, it also shows that we've been able to increase our calls for service to 455 calls for service. That includes everything that you see. That's just a little breakdown of what we had going on as far as citations, warnings, traffic crashes, and so on.
I appreciate those figures, thank
Yeah.
you, for sure.
Now that things have started to smooth out, we got people in the right spot, it gives me time to start focusing on those things a little bit more. And then we are getting ready, as we all started talking about Total Tuesday and stuff like that. We're gonna be getting into our community events for the year. We were asked by the Morrison Sportsman's Club to participate in a trap shoot, so it's gonna be all those following agencies that are listed in there are going to be teamed up with members of local high schools to shoot trap and probably get smoked by little kids. So they're probably gonna outshoot us. So that's just little
Hire
things
some of
coming
those
up.
good shooters.
Huh?
Hire some of those. good
Yeah. So that's really awesome. Again, for community events that are coming up, we have Blessing of the Bikes on June 1st, then our first Totally Tuesday, plus also that first weekend of June really won't affect us a whole lot, but that is Tailgate and Tall Boys, the first weekend of June. And then at the bottom of this, I added a little bit, just for comparison of how active we are as opposed to the city of Morrison. You can see our calls for service versus the city of Morrison, and we're about 3 times as busy as what Morrison is for calls for service.
how many are in there?
Huh?
How many officers do they have?
Not very many now, cause I just sold 2 of them. But they're 8.
There you
Eight with their hopes of getting to 9 someday, but now they're having a hard time. Thanks to you guys. But, and then if we wanna continue a little bit into, the police department side, obviously our biggest issue is what we've already kinda started talking about with the Delta 9. This infused water that's being sold at Eagle River. It's obviously become known to us. I mean, Eric brought it to my attention last week, and we've been going crazy trying to figure out how we can get rid of that. Because I think the problem is the way it's marketed. If somebody bought it legally and they put it in their fridge, some kid's gonna overdose on it. They really are. They really are. It's gonna be bad at some point. Like I said, if you look at just the picture of it, I mean, it just looks like any other energy drink or something you would find. And there's different levels of it. It starts at 5 milligrams and goes up to 20 milligrams. However, they really label this stuff. So again, I'll work with Terry as much as we can, and we'll try to figure out how we can change this. I think we're gonna probably need to get with Rebecca and probably modify our ordinance to define either the Delta 8s, 9s, and 10s. And then I think we should probably add some sort of verbiage in there to include all synthetic cannabinoids is what they're called. What happened is I kind of explained this earlier, is with spice, which was big a few years back when they were smoking spice, it wasn't illegal because every compound in there it was on its own. And altogether, if it was all together, it was illegal. But if you were to replace one of those little molecules to something different, it totally becomes legal again. It's just we're gonna keep chasing this over and over because by the time the state outlaws Delta 9, it's gonna be Delta 11. And by the time they do that, it'll be Delta 12. You know what I mean? We're gonna keep chasing it. So I don't know a good way to get ahead of it. Like Eric said, I mean, the FDA's already been working on it for 2 years.
But you said we could word it like synthetic.
Yeah, we
Synthetic.
can do something.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously I have to get with Rebecca and making sure we get the right verbiage
Right.
to outlaw as much of it we can. And again, if they were to sell it at the dispensary, it actually wouldn't be a problem. But it's when they start getting it sold in all these other places, just because anything that's done at the dispensary is gonna fall under Department of Agriculture. So,
This could be at the gas station,
Well,
stuff
yeah,
like
and like
that.
they
yeah, it
don't
could be.
understand what they're even selling.
No, they don't.
Are they the only ones?
As of right now, they are the only ones.
So far.
How does that compare to like what Gold Leaf is putting in their drinks? Is it the same level of potency?
Well, one of the visitors we were supposed to have tonight, I think was gonna talk about that, and it was gonna be in public comments. Jeff Sankson from the dispensary was supposed to be here. I got an email or a text message that he wasn't gonna be able to make it tonight.
I was looking forward to hearing.
I was too. So the bad thing is, the one that, I shouldn't say it's a good thing, but at least when it's in these cans for packaging, I mean, obviously it's getting controlled in some aspect. Over there, we don't know, they could put a handful of something in it, you're not gonna know if it's a handful or a pinch.
They come out with paper cups.
Right, exactly, so I mean, so as far as how it's, the quantities of what's in there, I mean, I think that's a lot more unregulated, I mean, well, I shouldn't say unregulated, but margin of error, I think would be higher.
But they could do more than
Oh, for
the
sure.
highest can.
So the Department of Agriculture, when they regulate hemp, they regulate it based off of a dry weight. And, you know, when it comes from the farm and it goes into, you know, whoever is going to produce whatever products, it is very regulated in that sense. But once they start chemically altering all of the different aspects to it, that's where your Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, that's where that all comes into it. And that's where, you know, like we were talking about this Delta 9 and, you know, a lot of this is actually coming from overseas and it's unregulated over there. So it comes over here unregulated, so we don't know what's actually contained within one of these strings. Because nobody can test it. But Delta 9, the variant, is actually in some pharmaceuticals that people use daily. So that's where it's a fine line of how legal is it and compared to how much are they bending the rule to get around it to stay in business. And that's where we need to, you know,
It's just, it's a smart industry. I heard an alderman from Chicago on WGN radio talking about it. And he was just saying how smart this industry had become and it's very lucrative. And they have a big lobby group down there and so, you know, they're
that's
making
what's
sure the laws.
essentially
Yes.
blocking this from being made into a law where they
And this
can't have it.
alderman was saying the devastation that's happening with kids in the city because they don't know it's harmful to them and they're.
Right, like Chad said, a kid's gonna grab it out of the refrigerator because it says cannabis with water.
He
Yeah,
told
they
her.
don't know what their cannabis is, but they know what water is,
Right.
and they're gonna drink
And it's-
water.
Right, fancy freaking, you know, packaging, I mean, it's gonna draw
we,
their attention, I mean, yellows and whites and purples, I mean.
Have we just asked them not to sell?
Well, then
Well, legally they can.
I know, but
Yeah, I mean, we haven't approached them because when we first found out about it,
I was gonna put a liquor license
Yeah,
on the
we
wall,
were-
I wasn't even gonna mess around.
we were ready to shut them down and then we realized, well, this is unregulated, they can sell it.
Disappointed, we've really cooperated with that business a whole lot.
Maybe
Well,
they
they
don't realize.
they
what
don't know how we feel, so.
Just
Well,
because they're
maybe they
selling
don't
it,
realize how,
well,
what it is either, how.
in talking with the Department of Agriculture, you know, a lot of these companies, they just come in and say, oh yeah, this isn't regulated in your town, you can easily sell this, no problem. Well, that's just a sales pitch. And in most cases right now, it is unregulated, but, you know, I know Sterling, they just passed it here within the last month that says you can't sell Delta 8, Delta 9, and Delta 10 within Sterling city limits. So there are communities out there that are starting to, he did make mention to the city of Chicago and how they are lobbying to keep it going, but a lot of the suburbs are pushing the other way. They are trying to eliminate it from their towns.
It's so lucrative, I mean, people are just making so
So,
much money.
yeah, I mean, I definitely think at the next meeting, we should, you know, look at possibly trying to ban the Delta 9 variant within the city of Fulton.
Do we, well, what do we do with the 8 and 10 right now? We don't
The
allow
8
that?
and 10 are already, I don't wanna say banned from being sold within the city limits. So we would essentially be adding the Delta 9 to that.
I say we put it on the agenda and just add it
You have to vote
next
on it.
meeting.
So we got an extra couple weeks, so that'll give me time and Eric time to deal with that stuff and probably get with Rebecca to maybe get a couple drafts to get to somebody to at least kind of review a little bit before there's a big vote, but
Well, and even
Well,
at
we
the
won't be
minimum,
meeting in
But
May.
I'd like to see Eric and Shane maybe just talk to Gerla.
I'll go down there, that's okay.
Just.
Yeah, I mean, it's just right now, as of right now, yeah, we just,
I just
there's nothing
think-
that says he can't sell it.
But regardless,
But let him know how,
get it in
from a
there.
community perspective with young people.
I'll visit him.
Nobody else can
we'll
do it
just give
either.
them a heads up, hey, we're going to be voting.
Because
to
we've had a good working
eliminate it.
relationship with him for a lot of years, so.
Yeah.
well, it's gonna come to a point too that once one of the saloons or gambling places realize that's what they're selling it too, they're gonna sell it. And it's just, it's only at one now, it's just a matter of time before it takes over to all the other ones.
Take care.
Like video gaming.
Okay,
They should go to, I have the same thing,
me too.
choir concert.
I know, my daughter's there singing now.
Is she?
Yep, say hi for me.
We're just about done, aren't we?
Yeah, I think so. Adam's not here, so, code enforcement report, everyone has that to look at. Just for Adam's not here today, I sent him an email. The only thing on this report I might like to see is like what happened afterwards, so here's your,
Yes, an example of that is I get a lot of inquiries about the condemned property over here. What status is it? If we could just get those updates on a regular basis, so when anybody asks, it's been a long time since we talked about it.
Right.
It still hasn't changed.
I'm looking into that too.
Yeah, it's just so.
I'm just waiting for Adam to come back tomorrow.
I said to him, there's a home right up on Melody Hills, right after the condos that like not such grass or anything. I just think you should do a wellness check, cause I haven't seen any activity there. I know it's an older gentleman that was living with his mom.
Yeah, the address or no? Just
It's the first home after the
We'll know it
condos
when
on
we see it.
Melody Hills.
on the right?
Yeah, the other side's the.
Is that the lady that calls all the time? No.
All right. Mindy just stepped out, so finance committee report. All right, we do need a motion to go into closed session for discussion of personnel. Thank you. If public could step out real quick. Thank you. I don't know. Tori, can you go into closed session, please? There it comes. Oh, we do?